Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect. As usual and always, I am your host, Robert Lockhart. Let's talk some baseball, shall we? All right. I'm going to do things a little bit differently tonight. For like the last few episodes, I've done nothing really more than kind of piss and moan about how poorly the Angels are doing. Their pitching's not right, although it has been better the last few games. Their offense is non-existent. Their coaching's just not great. I had hopes for Barry Enright, but he just doesn't have the pitching staff really humming. But then again, he doesn't have that really gritty number one guy to work with. None of that top of the rotation stuff. They don't have that. Johnny Washington, I was hoping I was wrong about him. Doesn't look like I am. I mean, look at who he's got to work with. He's got major talent to work with, and even our young guys have taken a bit of a step back. That's not good. So, what else really is there? They've lost, again, their last few series. Since I talked to you last, I think I already mentioned that they lost 2 out of 3 to Baltimore, just in case I forgot to mention that. They got swept by Minnesota. They lost 2 out of 3 to Philadelphia and lost 2 out of 3 to Cleveland. They put up great offensive numbers in one game, and those next 2 games, they fall flat. The first game against Cleveland, 6 runs, won 6-0. I mean, that game, the Angels were on target. The last 2 games, non-existent. Their offense put up a total of 2 runs in both games, and their pitching staff gave up a total of 11. That's basically been their MO the entire season. Can't have that. So, what I'm going to do differently, I said I was going to touch on all 30 teams, so I'm going to do that tonight. The Dodgers are humming. Dodgers are humming really well. I mean, you got the first 4 guys in their lineup are all batting well above 300. I mean, I laughed a little bit when they said that Mookie Betts could possibly have another MVP season. It's like, well, he's got to do that again. He's got to compete against Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani's batting like 320-something. Mookie Betts is batting 360-something. I'd say he's having an MVP season. Needless to say, Yankees look like the old Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton's really kind of picked things up since the addition of Juan Soto. They could probably use another pitcher or 2 to go along with Garrett Cole when he comes back. But Nestor Cortez has been doing pretty good. So, Clark Schmidt's really kind of gained steam a little bit. So Yankees are looking good. Baltimore's just got that amazing young talent that is just going to lead them into the next 10 years. So, not really anything to go on there. Philadelphia's looking pretty good. Their top 2 guys in Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola just look great. Ranger Suarez is up and down a little bit, but more up than he is down. One team that's a little surprising to me that's kind of lying in the weeds has been Tampa Bay. But then again, like I said, they don't have their top 3 pitchers. They don't have Shane McClanahan. They don't have Shane Baz. They don't have Taj Bradley. Those guys are out for now. McClanahan will probably come back in the next month or 2. Taj Bradley's out till close to the end of the season, and Shane Baz I think is going to show up probably around July. So, one team I know that's an absolute disappointment that shocks the hell out of me is St. Louis. St. Louis. I mean, this is a team that's been, very good the last 10 years. They've been the tops of the league. Well, tops of their division, anyway. And all of a sudden, it seems like they can't hit right. I mean, was the retirements of Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright that big of a problem? I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. But, again, that's baseball. We all know what happens. And it's always going to be that way. It's a fickle game, and it's a surprising game. Anytime you think that, hey, this team's going to be amazing, it's going to be awesome, it's going to go all the way, they'll fall flat. It happens. It always happens. I mean, like I said, right now the Yankees look great. They look amazing. They're right there at the top of the AL East, duking it out with Baltimore. Who knows? The next month, down they go. Could happen. You never know. Injuries happen. Slumps happen. It always happens. I am known to get a little ahead of myself at times, and I know it's only a month into the season, but if things keep going the way they've been going for the Angels, oh dear God. I said they were going to be duking it out with Seattle for third place. They're going to be lucky if they don't finish last. Like I said last time, Seattle's the tops of the American League West. That's pretty incredible considering the fact that Seattle can't hit or squat. They need some serious hitters. They don't have that. They have amazing pitching. That is really, making them look good right now. But their hitting is practically non-existent. And no, Seattle fans are not going to jump down my throat for it. They'll admit it. They'll be like, I know, I don't get it either. But hey, it's good stuff for us. There you go. Now, even the A's, Oakland A's, who have been at the bottom pretty much every single year for the last 5 years, have started to really make that climb. They've got a great young core themselves. Billy Beane has been known to do this forever. He doesn't have much of a budget, but he can go out there and he can get guys that will, keep them in, some kind of fight until they can really rebuild their own system. Key phrase, their own system. Oakland's got a great farm system. They really do. They have some really good up-and-comers, which is the one thing I can't say about the Angels. Oakland's got some game changers. The Angels do not. Anybody who's going to try to tell me, well, the Angels got Nelson Rada and Caden Dana, they're not game changers. Nelson Rada is going to be a solid contributor, don't get me wrong. He'll be a great, guy at the top of the lineup, getting on base and all that. From what I understand, he's a pretty good fielder too, but he's not a game changer. Caden Dana, from what I understand, scouts are saying that the highest his ceiling goes is a mid-rotation starter. He's been pitching really well in Double-A. That doesn't really necessarily mean he's going to be a top of rotation kind of guy. Again, he could still, if he could still add velocity, a little bit more bite on his slider, and from what I understand, his changeup is still developing. Until he can really kind of get that rolling, it's not going to be well for him. He'll be that mid-rotation starter, which isn't bad. At least he's a starter. For the longest time, the Angels didn't have starters. All they had was nothing but relievers. Maybe multi-inning relievers, but nothing but relievers. You may as well just have one guy start for a couple innings and then another guy go 3. You might as well just have a bunch of openers. Drove me crazy. But we have some decent starters in, the minor leagues now. Okay starters. Nothing spectacular. Nothing I would really say is, again, a game changer. None of them. So with that said, one of the other things I want to do is I want to touch on some of the comments that I've actually received over the last few months. One, apparently a Boston fan, seems to think that Red Sox are in the same boat. I got to disagree. I honestly think the Red Sox are doing far better. I think the Red Sox have a far better chance than the Angels do right now. I think Andrew Bailey's doing a great job as their pitching coach. He's got that rotation humming really well. Their defense is a little bit, since Trevor Story got hurt. That's a separated shoulder, guys. That's a nasty injury. And for anybody who's had a separated shoulder, oh my God, that's painful. And honestly, at times you're not really the same after that, unless you really, get that tendon and the cartilage strong again. But yeah, the defense suffers up the middle a little bit, but their offense has been looking really good. Tristan Casas, holy crap. Right now, you got Rafael Devers base saying, "Damn, he hits the ball harder than I do." You know, Rafael is really kind of starting to show the kind of prospect he is. His defense is still a little, but he's getting better. He actually is getting better. Connor Wong kind of came out of nowhere, didn't he? Yeah, he really wasn't considered much of a prospect, but here he is doing really well. Rob Refsnyder was never really much of a prospect himself either. He never really amounted to a whole lot till now. Now he's an everyday player. You know, super utility guy, I believe he is right now. Plays the outfield, plays the infield. He's been hitting the ball really well. Surprisingly enough. But like I said, at this point, I gotta say, I think the Red Sox have a far better chance than the Angels do. I mean, they got a long way to go to compete against Baltimore and New York right now, but they have a better chance than the Angels do. Let's put it that way. There was another comment that I thought was kind of interesting. Somebody had made mention, because I had mentioned this trade between the Angels and the Braves that I really disliked. You know, the Angels sending David Fletcher and Max Stassi to the Braves, which I thought was ridiculous. That was just stupid. I mean, you're going to trade David Fletcher just because he hasn't been hitting the ball well the last couple of seasons? Again, he was injured, and he couldn't get things going with a rotten hitting coach. Now, Marcus Timms, not a great hitting coach. He's the hitting coach for the Chicago White Sox right now. Look how poorly they're doing. That should tell you all you need to know about him as a hitting coach. So, you got a guy who's a slap hitter. He's an on-base guy. You know, he's not going to put up major power numbers, unless he hits the ball into the gap somewhere. That's about it. But he's an on-base guy. He always has been. His claim to fame actually is his defense. And you want to get rid of that? I mean, you can take away up the middle with just Neto and Fletcher alone at second and short. I never understood that. The comment basically read, Stassi was really good for the Angels, but O'Hoppy's the future, and they're putting their trust in him. That I agree with. Logan O'Hoppy's been amazing. He's been fantastic. He's definitely been an upgrade from Stassi. Not as much in defense, but definitely an upgrade offensively. So that I agree with wholeheartedly. I always saw Stassi as a trade piece anyway. But the rest of the comment had to do with, maybe Fletcher wanted to be traded because he saw no, playing time with the Angels, and he wanted to go to a team where he would get a lot of playing time. Plus, maybe the Angels wanted to show a little bit more faith in the future of Kyron Paris. Okay, that's where I really got to disagree. David Fletcher, yes, he wasn't receiving a whole lot of playing time with the Angels because his offense was suffering. That's where a good hitting coach comes in handy. You find the guy's strength and you work on that. Not a problem. You could have easily gotten him back. Well, maybe not Johnny Washington, but you could have gotten David Fletcher back to where he was. I mean, right now he already is. I mean, he did make the squad with the Braves because, let's face it, where does he play? Second, short, maybe third. Second, you got Ozzie Albies. Left-handed power bat, still a good on-base guy, great defense. It's not really going to take a lot of playing time away from Ozzie Albies. Orlando Arcia at short, same thing. You're not going to take a lot of playing time away from Arcia because Arcia's got more of a power bat than David Fletcher does. Fletcher's better on base, but Arcia's on-base percentage is still relatively good. So he's not going to be unseating him. Like I said, third base is a bit of a stretch for Fletcher, but he can still do it. And you're not going to unseat Austin Riley. Austin Riley, when he's going good, is, a lot of people say, remnants of Chipper Jones. And that's a major column. Now, granted, Chipper Jones was a switch hitter, but that's nitpicking. And of course, you don't got to put him over at first base. He's 5'6". Plus, you really think he's going to unseat a guy who's 6'4", a Gold Glove first baseman, and mashes the ball He's not going to unseat Matt Olson, that's for dang sure. So, he's been in the minors. His average dipped a little bit when he went back down to the minors. I mean, he hit decently well when he was up with the Braves for a short period of time when Albies was out. But, he's, again, they sent him back down. He accepted it, and he's, starting to hit really well again in AAA. He's closer to 300 right now. Last time I checked, I think he was about 285. It's been a couple of games. I haven't checked recently, but my guess is right around the 290 area. Could very well be. So, Kyron Paris is a notoriously slow starter, and he's not hit anywhere close to 300 anywhere that he's been with the Angels in the minor leagues. His on-base percentage is... I really wouldn't go... I really wouldn't want to get into that. His defense is nowhere near David Fletcher's defense. So, why would they show faith in Kyron Paris when Fletcher is already the superior player? Makes no sense to me. Would make absolutely no sense if that was the reason. But my major gripe with that particular trade was the fact they got nothing in return. They got nothing in return. They got a left-handed reliever who's doing decently in AAA right now, but he's not even among the Angels' top 30 prospects. And the other guy was Evan White, who's a failed prospect. He's a Gold Glove first baseman, but it's a joke of a hitter. This guy can't hit for squat. Never could. And they take on a major contract in Evan White that he got prior to even playing in the major leagues from Seattle. That is why I hated that trade. It was unbelievably one-sided in the direction of Atlanta. The Angels got diddly squat for it. I mean, if this left-handed reliever actually looks promising and winds up being somewhat good, it's still an unbelievably one-sided trade because of what Atlanta got. They turned around and traded Stassi to the Chicago White Sox and got, I can't remember what they got for him, but I know he's a reliever. He's a decent reliever. I didn't like the trade because it was so one-sided. It's incredibly one-sided. And it was just a horrible, horrible trade. It's like you just gave them away. Hell, you might as well just release the guys. You would have gotten the same back. You really would have got the same back. Instead, you actually got less, considering the fact you took on a major contract with Evan White. Bad move. Horrible move. Bad trade. Hated it. But it is what it is. I'm going to leave it there. Guys, I will see you all next time. Until then, please, go Halos.